Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Star Citizen Alpha 4.1, the next major patch, will now include the start of item recovery, a massively important quality of life and highly requested feature. CIG talked about it in some detail and the plans for future implementations of it in a post. Alpha 4.1, first look at item recovery. CIG said, as we prepare for the Evocati test phase of our upcoming Alpha 4.1 patch, we'd like to introduce the iterative release plan for item recovery, a long-awaited system that gives players more control over reclaiming their valuable gear after death. At CitizenCon 2954, we shared our long-term design for crafting, insurance, and item/ship recovery. We want to provide a more detailed breakdown of some of the iterative releases that will start to bring these plans to life. The initial Tier 0 rollout will be fairly basic compared to the full system, but it marks a crucial first step. The complete item recovery system will be far more robust and nuanced, making gear management a core gameplay element. You'll be able to secure the items that matter most while still allowing room for piracy and emergent gameplay. Although I'd like to say that the Tier 0 implementation does take a little away from looting of bodies, player bodies, in the short term, but obviously adds to the lack of faff and being able to get into the game in the short term as well. So it's coming in stages, just be aware of that. First step, Tier 0 implementation. With the initial rollout of item recovery in 4.1, you will respawn with the exact gear you had equipped at time of death. Emphasis on equipped, as this is different than stuff that you may have had in your inventory. This includes equipped weapons, armor, magazines, medpens, ensuring that your core loadout is retained. However, items stored in your inventory, such as your backpack or other containers, will remain on your corpse, making them available for looting or retrieval. While equipped items will also remain on your body too, they will not be interactable, preventing item duplication while still preserving the visual state of your character at the time of your respawn. This approach helps mitigate item duplication issues in the initial implementation while laying the groundwork for future expansions of the system in Tier 1 and Tier 2. Important notes: items stored in your inventory, example items in your backpack, will not be protected and will remain on your body upon death, available to be looted or stolen by other players or retrieved by you. Items such as magazines and medpens that you have equipped can still be looted from your body. However, you will also respawn with these items, as duplication concerns for these types of consumables are less concerning at this stage. Tier 0 item recovery applies to all forms of respawning, whether in a medbed, on a ship, or at your assigned landing zone. To ensure that your weapon in active use is secured as an equipped item, it will automatically be stowed to your holster upon death. If you die within a landing zone, you will respawn with both your equipped gear and inventory, example belongings in your backpack. This is to help avoid you losing items of any kind should a death outside of your control happen. With Tier 0, you will respawn with your previously equipped gear already attached to your character. Scenario example: while exploring, you loot a rifle and store it in your backpack. If you die, that rifle will remain on your body, available for others to loot or for you to revisit your body and retrieve. However, the original rifle you had equipped to your character in hand or holstered at the time of your departure will be secure and respawn with you. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have realised that this solves another problem in the short term at least, medgowns, because you're respawning with the gear that you had on you. You don't necessarily need to have medgown on anymore. I also think this will build into other types of insurance in the future for character and death of spaceman, where you go, let's have it so that if you don't have any form of insurance at all, whatever, you just respawn in the hospital with your medgown on and maybe your items in storage or whatever, based on how injured you are or how many times that you've been taken out. I do also want to say that looting of player bodies in the Tier 0, the 4.1 implementation of this, some people are going to be like, well, I want to take their really cool items. What about items that they've taken from contested zones that you want to immediately loot from them? Well, you will only be able to loot them, it sounds, if it's directly from their backpacks and not from items that are in their hands. So if people equip stuff into their hands, it's not going to be lootable in the same way. You should still be able to loot NPCs in that way though, and you'll still find loot in containers and crates and all that sort of stuff. It's only going to be a short-term change in PvP of looting stuff for what I think is a much better way of being able to get back into the game, play the game, get your stuff back. Looking ahead to Tier 1 and Tier 2 implementation, while Tier 0 lays the groundwork and provides some assurance that your equipped items are not lost, we are already actively developing Tier 1 and Tier 2 implementations. These future updates will add more depth to the system, including a viable path for piracy. Tier 1, loadout and ship registration. Tier 1 will introduce the ability to register your gear and ships at kiosks or ISOP terminals. Important notes: personal loadout. Players can register their equipped items, which can be reclaimed for a fee at specific kiosks or freight elevators. So it is at a fee. Ships and interiors. Ships, along with their loadouts, decorations, and locker contents, can also be registered. They can be reclaimed in the state they were previously registered at ASOP terminals for a price. So this is really cool. This means you can get your stuff back without having to fiddle and manage and do a load of admin. Get it back, I'm charged a price for that. Maybe that price is actually pretty high, but it means I don't have to faff around. Looting and bricked items. Once an item is looted, it remains usable until the original owner reclaims it or marks it as stolen. At that point, a deadman switch is activated, meaning it will cease to function after a period of time. While a looted and or stolen bricked item is no longer usable, you can still sell it. Pledge items. So this is typically items that you've paid money for or are otherwise attributed to your account. Pledge items are auto-registered and will never lose their registration status. They can always be claimed back even if they were not manually registered. So I do want to say, when I said that about pledged items and it encompassing promo items and other stuff attached to your account, that is just what I assume, and that's not confirmed by CIG. With Tier 1, you will no longer respawn with your preserved gear already equipped. You will need to visit a location such as your freight elevator to reclaim your registered items. We are developing a quality of life feature to allow you to re-equip your previous full loadout with one auto-equip button at this location. Additionally, with the implementation of Tier 1, our current plan is to remove the ability to backspace out of dangerous scenarios as a way to retain your gear. Tier 2 implementation, restoring bricked items and crafting integration. Tier 2 will introduce a way to restore previously bricked items for a price. Important notes: looting and bricked items. Once an item is looted, you will have the option to sell it, dismantle it for crafting materials, or restore it with the potential cost of crafting materials and credits to make it your own. This system creates a viable path for piracy, allowing you to claim another player's belongings if you take the necessary steps to legitimize ownership. If an item had a cosmetic applied, restoring it will remove the cosmetic in the process. The introduction of item recovery is a significant step towards making gear persistence more meaningful while maintaining the risk-reward balance of looting. Tier 0 in Alpha 4.1 is just the beginning, and as we further integrate into the broader crafting and assurance systems, we'll be actively refining and updating with the help of your feedback throughout the PTU process and beyond. People should try this system out in 4.1 through either Cloud and PTU phases for sure, and give CIG feedback. The Tier 0 implementation is, I suspect, going to make a lot of people that want to loot other players' gear, PvPers, want to take contested zone loot off other players, not the happiest. But as I said earlier, I think it's some short-term PvP player pain for a significantly better system, and a system that's going to make a lot more people happy in the short term. I know that's not ideal. I know that we want a game where PvP, PvE, and the two coming together at certain areas with the appropriate risk and reward, and people being aware of that. Important, and these cool items, actually people being able to take them off you if you are in a situation where maybe you got caught out. That will be there in the future, and a significantly better system behind the recovery of items and death of a spaceman, mortality, looting, piracy, all that sort of stuff. So we're getting that. It's just coming in some stages, and in the short term, you're going to have a lot more people a lot happier that they just spawn with their gear that they got taken out with and then get straight back into the action. At least that's my take on it, and you do not have to agree. You can be like, no, this is completely the wrong take, or actually the full system is, even when fully implemented, isn't what we need for the game. Have those opinions, that is fine. Share them, we can talk about them. And also, after you've tried the system out in 4.1, give CIG some feedback with that as well. Because it's important that these systems evolve, breathe, and grow. So CIG did answer a couple of questions on this as well. What happened to no more tier 0 implementations? Because basically CIG said they're going to be doing that less and less. So the response here was, item recovery has become one of the most frequently requested features, and we want to start rolling out improvements here sooner rather than later. Instead of creating a temporary system that would eventually need replacing, we've structured the intended full design into tiers, allowing us to introduce aspects earlier rather than waiting for the entire crafting and insurance system to be completed. Each tier 0 to tier 2, is a step that ladders up to the full robust system that the team is building. And another question I saw, is this all gear that's going to be covered, or just subscriber gear, just those promo items? The response here, all gear. There's a specific note for any pledge obtained items in the tier 1 section. Pledge items are auto-registered and will never lose their registration status. They can always be claimed back even if they were not manually registered. That implies that all other gear can be registered, but you'll have to choose, because I suspect people aren't going to want to pay the insurance costs and all that sort of stuff for this gear. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Alpha 4.1. It looks like it's going to be the March patch, and that Evocati phase for 4.1 should start actually pretty soon, probably this week, if not already. I'm really interested to know your thoughts on this and CIG putting it into the game. Are you worried that it's going to cause a load of bugs? Are you actually really excited for this, going, oh, this makes the game so much easier for me to play without the worry of losing all this stuff or having to faff around? Has this taken away something from the game for you because you were enjoying PvP and actually looting bodies, or you're like, well, actually I can still loot people's stuff, I just can't loot the armor and their weapon that's actually equipped? Whatever your thoughts or questions, chuck them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Also, another reason to comment is because we've got a giveaway this month for a ship. Oh, how fancy. It's a Super Hornet Mark II with the Heartseeker kit. It comes with lifetime insurance and a game package. It was given to us by CIG. Thank you very much for that. Just comment on any of our videos made during March to be in for a chance of winning. Also, something that makes you feel like you're a winner, NordVPN. Click the links down below. Click them or go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. You want a VPN? It will help protect you on the interwebs with better privacy, accessibilities, and other security things. We've also got links down below for like Tobii Eye Tracker for some natively supported head and eye tracking in Star Citizen. Very high precision, very cool stuff. If you've got like a huge amount of monitors or like an ultra wide setup or all that sort of stuff, it's very, very good for that too. If you want to further support the channel, there's Patreon, there's the join button under my videos. Just liking, sharing, subscribing and all that good stuff really, really helps too. I hope you have a great March. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.